Good morning, everyone. We're about to start this morning's ordinary council meeting. Welcome, everyone. Those watching online, welcome. Logged in virtually, I would like to welcome you all here this morning. All the directors, thank you. Welcome. This morning, we are here for the ordinary council meeting on the 30th of June, 2022. Just make sure all the councillors that's online, are they audible? Can they hear? Okay, thank you. The attendance register is circulating. Please make sure everybody signed. I would like us just to open this proceedings then with a silent prayer, starting now. Amen. We will move now to point 3 on the order of business. It is the applications of leave of absence. Council, I did receive one apology from Councillor Kamkam, who is doing the exams today. So she has well in advance identified that she won't be able here to join us today. So therefore her leave of absence has been granted. On point 3, we will move on to point 4. It is the declaration of interest. Any councillor would like to declare? None. We will then move to point 5, the confirmation of minutes for previous meetings of the ordinary meeting on the 31st of May. The minutes is on screen. Councillors, is there a true reflection of the minutes? Councillor Tsabai?
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, for the minutes of R13206 about the Kwanogutula list for parking purposes, that those minutes are not the true reflection of what we were discussing about here the last council. Can you go to them, especially to the recommendations? Because to the recommendations it says yes, the proposal, it says there it's Councillor Mangaba. That's not Councillor Mangaba. And immediately I raised the issue of this thing that is happening at the back. The mayor deliberated also about the issue of public participation, because what happened is that all these other leases were granted without public participation, and then it was the only one, this one, that was not granted to utilize the place without the public participation. Then therefore, I don't know whether I would rather be wrong if I say the person who proposed is the executive mayor, unless we can go to Hansard. Because Councillor Mangaba, if you remember, he was given a false narrative, and also that apartheid magistrate who declined that item, whereas in a portfolio committee, we agreed. He declined, and because of that narrative, Councillor Mangaba also did not propose. So, believing it's a councillor, the executive mayor there.
Okay. So you say that the proposal was coming from the executive mayor?
Yes.
So I see two hands here. Councillor Mangaba first, then the MM.
Thank you, Speaker. I'd like us to actually go straight to page 18. The item about economic development and tourism report. I remember this vividly because I delved so much into it. If you read it, the recommendations, point 1 says that it be noted that future reports must reflect municipal financial contribution. I know these recommendations because I was emphasizing all of them. That report was actually referred back for it to be rewritten and resubmitted. It was never really about now in future we'll expect this from them. Recommendations were that we are not accepting the report, excuse me. We are sending it back for it to be redone, that those figures are reflective. Thank you.
Thank you. I will.
So, Speaker, there was the first one of mine. I don't know whether you have resolved it, because you gave Councillor Mangaba to deal with another one.
No. I did ask it, so I will take it up then and make sure that you're saying it's not a true reflection.
I thought the executive mayor wanted to say something also.
Okay. Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. I know I did speak on the item Councillor Gabai was referring to, and I know I did recommend that we do public participation. I don't recall offhand if I was the proposer or not, but I suggest then that the administration check the recordings and correct the minutes in both instances before we bring them back to council to approve them.
Thanks, Executive Mayor. We will make sure. MM?
Thanks, Speaker. So I was just going to assist in terms of the guidance. So that specific item in terms of the minutes will remain unconfirmed then. It will mean it will serve because administration needs to go back and listen to the audio in terms of who really proposed at this point in time, unless you are able to find that quickly, Tanya, and just in your notes, which I doubt. So that minutes will remain unconfirmed. So the issue is about the proposer. So will then remain unconfirmed, and then they can be confirmed in the next meeting. That's the right procedure. With regards to the second issue, let's quickly look at it, Councillor through you, Speaker, again. The number 2 says that the relevant portfolio committee addressed their reporting expectations with the economic development to ensure standard reporting are submitted. Is that not covering in terms of that the report must be correct, because it was referred to that committee for that committee to look at a standard of reporting. What is it that they expect in that report to actually is deliberated there? Unless we have captured number 3 then incorrectly. But I agree with you. It was not only about the financial. The report was rejected. If that's the only part that is missing, I agree with you that the report was rejected and sent back to that committee. That the report must be improved.
Okay. So there's 2 sets that's going to remain unconfirmed. Councillor Mangaba, I see your hand.
Thank you, Speaker. And again, I'm not sure whether or not when these minutes are populated or done, there's addition from the administration team at the back, because I might be wrong, or I was sitting at a different meeting. I don't recall point 3 saying that the relevant portfolio committee should address their reporting expectations. I don't recall that recommendation being read in this council in that day.
But you must then, Speaker, that minutes must remain unconfirmed so that the administration can listen to the tapes and the notice and send it to circulate to the councillors in terms of what was discussed in that item.
Okay, so the minutes of the 31st will then remain unconfirmed, or the two?
Only the two.
The 2 years from the 31st of May will remain unconfirmed. Is there any other minutes that's not a true reflection? Apart from those two? So I take it there's none. Can we then have Councillor Kabai?
So what are we then going to say in these minutes? Are we going to say item so and so unconfirmed and item so and so, and we will also on the other side say we confirm the minutes?
No, that's what I was raising at the beginning. Are we gonna totally?
No, I'm asking the question to you.
The 31st minute, I'm saying that, gonna say that the 2 sets of minutes remain unconfirmed, although you are saying that we're gonna confirm the whole set. But you're asking now that, what are we saying if the 2 remains unconfirmed and the rest could remain confirmed?
Yeah.
Speaker?
That's what.
As a council, I've never heard.
Okay, just MM.
No, Speaker, this is a very simple matter.
Yeah.
It's not even a simple English, very simple matter. There was a council meeting on the 31st. In that council meeting today, it's reflecting the minutes of what was discussed in that council meeting. The minutes of that council meeting has got separate items which were dealt with. Now, when we come to this meeting, the intention is to confirm the accuracy of those minutes that were dealt with in that meeting on those items that were dealt with. Now, there's 2 items which have been raised in terms of accuracy. What we're then saying is that administration asking for time to go and check that and then come back to council. But that information will be provided to councillors, all councillors, before even the next council meeting, so that the councillors are sure in terms of what was said there and administration is said, and those minutes then are corrected if they are inaccurate. If they are accurate, then they will remain. So, and then the other item is an item that Councillor Mababa raised. So you cannot, as council, say you don't confirm all the minutes of the meeting of the 31st, because the other items within those minutes are correct. It's only those 2. Procedurally, then, the items can stand over because what you are saying that there's an issue of inaccuracy in terms of the minutes. So the items, the minutes stand over because you're not confirming them to approve them that they were true reflection. So that is a procedure that any meeting in terms of that. What you would have done in other meetings, you will have matters arising in terms of deliberating on those issues, but administration does not have immediate answer now because they still have to go and listen to the records. So that is why those minutes will stand over for the next meeting. That's the procedure. There's nothing sinister or something wrong with that procedure, Chair.
Mayor, I'm just, Councillor, yes, that's the part that I was also emphasizing with you, that the rest of the minutes is a true reflection, but except for the 2 items. So therefore, we need to make a decision to say that the 2 sets is remain unconfirmed, stand over to be confirmed for a true reflection, but as for the rest, it is a true reflection. Thank you.
Speaker.
Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to propose that we go with the minutes and that the 2 items raised by Councillor Gabai and Councillor Manaba is held over to be corrected and to be checked, to be confirmed then at the next meeting.
Thank you. The Executive Mayor proposed. Councillor Olivier.
I second that.
So proposed by the Executive Mayor, seconded by Councillor Olivier, that the two sets of minutes remain unconfirmed to be, the two items, sorry, be approved. Thanks. That's from the 31st of May. 5.2, the minutes of the Special Council. Amen.
Chair, I just want council to take note, and again procedural. What we have dealt with is a true reflection of council minutes. Item C2500622. You've confirmed the true reflection, but the resolution of that item had errors. So I just want council to take note that in the next council meeting, there must be an item that rescind those errors in that specific resolution and correct them. But you cannot do it in terms of the minutes here now and say the minutes are not correct. The minutes are correct. Let me make just one example. In that item, you will notice that point 3 talks about the following policies which have not been amended, not been reviewed. 1, age overtime policy. We know that we have dealt with a workshop on overtime. The overtime policy has been changing, and it's part of the agenda today on the Section 80 and MACO as amended. So that needs to be corrected, but it will be corrected with a specific item that says rescind that specific decision in relation to 3H and the other one. It's dealt with in terms of that other council resolution. So I just want council to note that procedurally, you cannot then say now that was not what was discussed. That was what was discussed when you confirm the minutes. Thanks, Speaker.
Thanks, take note, Ma'am. So we under 5.2, the 7th of June, 2022. Is that minutes a true reflection? Is that a true reflection, councillors? Councillor Olivier?
I go with the minutes.
Proposed by Councillor Olivier, Executive Mayor.
Second, Speaker.
Seconded by the Executive Mayor. Moving on to point 6, the statement and communications by the Executive Mayor and the Speaker. Is there any communications, Executive Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, morning, Speaker, councillors, management, staff, and also the people that have joined us online. We all know we live in a beautiful area that attracts many visitors who wish to share this beauty with us. What we often forget is that sometimes in this natural beauty around us, unexpected dangers do exist, and sometimes the events that remind us of the harsh realities around us. During the past week on Tuesday, Plet experienced its second ever fatal shark attack on a swimmer who was swimming outside the back line beyond the surf zone. Our condolences go out to his family and friends. This tragedy, however, reminds us that we need to be respectful and aware of our surroundings in all that we do. This includes the environment in which we live and the environment in which we interact with each other. We never know when our circumstances may change. It's also in our municipal environment where currently many people are struggling to survive post-COVID. As we all know, this municipality has put some measures in place starting tomorrow on the 1st of July that will go some way to assist the lower income earners in Bitou. There has been an increase in the indigent threshold to 5,200 Rand per household, as well as to various rebates on the basic service charges, and also a write-off of outstanding debt. There will be public participation in all the community halls starting next week to assist the public with this. The moratorium that was in place until today for debt recovery methods, in other words, blocking of electricity and other methods, now also comes to an end as at the 30th of June. This was in place to give households the chance to settle outstanding service debts that they may have had. To enable Bitou Municipality to continue with its mandate of service delivery, it's important for all households to pay for the services that they receive. As mentioned earlier, Bitou Municipality has made it easier for the low-income residents to do so. Without this income, as a municipality, we will simply just not have enough funds to continue with the basic service delivery that needs to be done by us. Currently, outstanding debt is rising by 4 million rand per month, and this cannot continue. I need to thank the staff at Bitou Municipality, however, for their tenacity in continuing the struggle to reverse our financial position. Since November last year, when our current ratio was at 0.8 to 1, the situation has improved to May, where we are now at a more respectable 2.2 to 1, and bearing in mind that the national norm is 1.5. Our debt collections have improved as well, and is averaging around 88.81%. However, for May, it was 91.83%. So we are moving closer to the accepted 95% norm that we should be at. May was also the second month in the past year that our income actually exceeded our expenses. While there's much work still to be done, Bitou Municipality for now appears to be on the correct path to be able to fulfill its mandate to the public. The COVID restrictions have also ended, and as of yesterday, Bitou had 9 recorded positive cases of COVID. While the severity appears to have reduced, especially for the vaccinated members of the public, this virus is still around and we should still exercise caution. We're also all aware of the ongoing failure of Eskom to provide us with electricity supply that we've come to expect, and this week even entered into the realm of level 6 load shedding. This places a burden on the whole of Bitou in our private lives and economically when we're trying to recover from the COVID economic disaster. While some households do have alternative measures in place to provide a small measure of electricity during the load shedding, this is not the case for the majority of Bitou. As a municipality, our electric department will need to focus on measures to assist us to start moving towards a measure of self-sustainability with our electricity supply. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Mayor. There's nothing from my side. There's no point 7. There's no presentations. Point 8, items for information which has been dealt with by the Executive Mayor. No items. Noting of outstanding or partially implemented council resolutions. On point 9, it has been on screen and circulated. Take it all is in order. Move then to point 10, which is the consideration of reports, non-delegated matters. We will then go to the portfolio of index. The first section is the office of the municipal manager. The first item that will be dealt with is item C, stroke 1, stroke 61, stroke 06, stroke 22, which deals with the performance management framework of Bitou Municipality. It is on page 66 till 113. Councillors, can we go over the recommendations? Executive Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. I'd like to propose that we go to the recommendation of the Municipal Manager.
Is it proposed by the Executive Mayor that we go? Councillor Olivier,
I second that recommendation.
seconded by Councillor Olivier. Next item, it is item C, stroke 1, stroke 62, stroke 06, stroke 22. It is the report in respect of implementing resolution 1 stroke 42 stroke 0422, finalization of the microstructure. It is on page 114 to 116. Can we go with the recommendations? Executive Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. Sorry, Speaker, I keep waiting for you to advise us that the item is serving. I'd like to go through the recommendation of the Municipal Manager with one change in recommendation number 2, that Council consider and approve extension of the deadline to September 2022 for the finalization of the micro-organizational structure. So I'd like to change the deadline from August to September.
We have that it be changed from August as a recommendation to September.
Do I have a right to ask why should it be extended? Because can we hear from the mayor, what are the reasons if it cannot be August? Because we know that we want to know economic stability of the people that are being employed. If then that can be extended to September, what's the reason? So that we can be of the same understanding.
Chair, I've discussed the matter with the Executive Mayor yesterday. If you look at the staff regulations, they require that when council has adopted that structure, it must adopt it, it must send to the MEC in the province, who's got 14 days to look at it and come back to council. And the regulations are very clear. If he does not come back within 14 days, then we write to the national minister to also look at it. So there's a 14 days and the 14 days for both the provincial MEC and the national minister. So they must make their comments, it comes back. So in essence, the decision in August would not be the final approval. It is still pending that participation, that comments from both province and national. So hence, I then also agreed to say, that process, you don't know how it's going to take. Let's allow for that period, and it comes for final approval. So the item, when it comes in August, it will still come, but it's not a final approval. It will say this is a proposed draft organizational structure, and then another resolution that must be referred to consultation in terms of the regulation we stated. So we're allowing just for that period. So the item will serve twice in August as well as in September for final approval. So I think it was written wrongly to say it must be finally approved in August.
Thank you, MM. There's a proposal by the Executive Mayor.
Seconded, Speaker.
Seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Fourth item under section 1. It is item C, stroke 1, stroke 64, stroke 06, stroke 22. The Municipal Public Accounts Committee report on irregular expenditure of 2019-2020. Fine. Okay, sorry. My apology there. No, man, no, I missed one there. Sorry. Okay, we are number 3 now. Item C, stroke 1, stroke 63, 06, stroke 22. Bitou Municipality performance agreements for the municipal manager and senior managers on page 117 to 225. Item serving. Can we go with the recommendations? Maya?
Thank you.
The speaker is confusing us here. You must say the item is serving. You must not, as if you are instructing us to.
I did say now, Councillor. On the first two, I admit I did not, but I did say now. Can you come to my rescue, Councillor Kolwabi? I did say. Yes. Thank you. I told you I'm going to find someone that controls you. I did say.
Thank you, Speaker. I'd like to go with the recommendations of the municipal manager. However, there are some amendments I think we need to make to the service delivery and budget implementation plan in terms of some of the targets there. If we look at TL15 and the financial sustainability, we have set a target of 92% in terms of collections, where the national norm is 95%. We're not very far off that, and I think we need to amend that to be at 95% in line with the national norm. And then also with TL18 with regards to water, we are rating ourselves and scoring ourselves on a 30% water loss. That is our current water loss at the moment, and we really need to improve on that situation, and I would like to suggest that that is changed to at least to reduce it to a 20% water loss. So that's something that also needs to be looked at.
There's a proposal with some amendments, unless we have a.
Excuse me.
Councillor Kolope, just I will recognize you now.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that they have the amendments for the executive mayor that is raised with his proposal, and I think we're gonna go into something lower. Councillor Kolope?
Looking at what Auditor General always brings when we talk about these things, water losses, electricity losses, at least we're supposed to halve it, because it's one of the things that comes and become a constant concern from MPEC side. So how about we just put it to 15%? Because with the budgets that we're always implementing to improve our water services, our pipes, our infrastructure, at least we're supposed to have half of that, because the budget influence to that. So can we put it at 15% at least, to ensure that the offense, they do their job there? Thank you.
I have no objection.
I just want, because that's, I think you're directing it directly to the mayor. So, okay. In response, Mr. Mayor, you can have a response.
We obviously need to improve on the situation, but we also need to set something that's realistic. So let's just find out from engineering what they feel is a realistic level. It's like with the 92% in debt collection to 95%, we're in that region. If our debt collection was 70%, then 90% would have been reasonable, because it would have been an increase. But because we're sitting around the 89, 90% level, 92% is not correct. We need to be at 95. So let's maybe first hear from engineering on what they feel is realistic, because we obviously need to set stretching targets, but they need to be achievable.
Okay. First then Mr. Roda.
Maybe first Mr. Roda.
Then you. Okay. Mr. Roda?
Okay. Thank you, and Mayor, Speaker. Look, the national average of water losses sits in the high 40s, the national average. Everybody tried to get it below 15 in prior years, but we soon realized it's not. You cannot do it in the short period of time. I think at that time, President Zuma gave the target and he said he wanted under 15%. Nobody achieved that. So there's a number of things that need to happen with this, and I would accept the 20% that the mayor's proposed. Our current one was 19%, and we achieved 28%. But the 28% was as a result of meters not being read. Mm-hmm. Now you cannot blame the water department if finance don't read the meter. So there needs to be some collaboration. So what we have this time brought in, and I haven't seen the final performance contracts of the directors, is to say, well, now the water people, sorry, the finance people must read all their meters every day. Every month, which will improve the target. So I would propose that we do incremental, do 20, and if we see we can reach it, then we can go down and improve the next financial year. But what I'm saying, the stuff is not in place yet for us to achieve. So we run around and we do leaks, and the other thing is also, look, there's two things that I've explained in the last meeting. I think it was in the mail committee that I said, to prevent big water losses is you need to invest in your water infrastructure, water pipes. You've been on the water committee. So if those pipes are not replaced in your capital, you've got problems. And I've cited the example that we in the prior year we did a lot of Porkies underwent a lot of pipe breaks, asbestos pipe breaks, and when we replace them, suddenly there's no breaks. So that we need to roll out through, but we don't always get the funding from council to do that. So there will be pipe breaks, and if the pipe breaks, the water gushes out, and that's immediate losses. The second thing is the readings of the water meter. Now that I'm hoping comes right, because I've proposed it for the CFO that he must read meters every month. And also the smart water meters that council has spoken a lot about will improve that, because now the meters will report directly, what their readings is. So I would propose what the mayor is saying, let's take it to 20 and see how it goes, and then move to lower percentages.
Thank you. I will allow you, Councillor Kolopi, then the MM.
Bear with me, I've been a chairperson of the Water Forum and Sanitation. It's not only relying on infrastructure. As the municipality, we're doing our infrastructure. The most thing, Speaker, mostly under you, the awareness, the public participation, the awareness of the public. And I think the Department of Water and Sanitation, they are doing that. And what sometimes it's disappointing, the ward councillors are not attending those meetings. And that is under your attention, Speaker, with due respect, that ward councillors need to attend those meetings so that they can always promote a public participation, a public awareness, because most of the leakages are not more with infrastructure. They are more of the carelessness in the communities where people, especially in the places where it's not in formal structures. So it is still due to here to ensure that this council work hand in hand with Department of Water and Sanitation. They also propose the budgets and everything. We need to be assisted when it comes to that. This 15% can happen without even infrastructure only to look at and water meters. It's more, the whole devil is with the thing of the pipes and everything else, that where people, they don't care, because the Bitou is still in a good standing with water. We need to save our water. Water is life. If we can't emphasize that performance with our senior managers, well, we're lacking. We are setting ourselves to a problem that is near to us, EPE and whatever. We need to go to 15%. That's my proposal.
Just to give you a straight answer there, you will.
Order, in fact.
Firstly,
I can't.
Councillor?
Yes. No, we can't allow Councillor Kolopi to say that councillors do not attend these meetings. One. Two, if you talk to Franslin, there was a company that was appointed by the municipality in the informal settlements to deal with maintenance of pollution and to an extent to fix the leaks. That company is no longer functioning. When you call Franslin, Franslin is going to tell you that she's only got 2 plumbers or 3 plumbers, and those people are busy. So it can't be thrown to us as councillors that we do not attend. In fact, there was never a meeting of that sort in Ward 3 so far, since I was elected as a councillor there. So I just wanted to correct that, Speaker.
Okay. I also wanted to add on there, what councillors has recently received a water operational plan that they are submitting. In that water operational plan, you would see there's a program for water that we go out to this. It is due today for all councillors to submit. There you need to have a plan set out that we will address this matter. So yes, again, I can also say that it is incorrect for you to say that councillors has a lack of interest in these kind of things or not attending. So the water operational plans will be submitted today at the end of business, which will then be a priority to be in the communities to make sure that these water losses are being addressed. So after today, we will definitely see more improvement in this water loss program or public participation processes around these matters. Thank you. Now we've had discussion on this, Councillor Kolopi. I don't allow you a follow-up. We have stood that 20%. We can look into 50 in future, but 20% is a reasonable target. Councillor Olafir?
Thank you for that. I must just add that from water and sanitation, ward committees were requested to be part of those bodies. And that is what we did. Going on to the awareness afterwards for all councillors. But I want to go with the recommendation of the mayor after listening to engineering and understanding what will be the target. So I'll go with the recommendation of the mayor.
This is proposed by the executive mayor and then seconded by Councillor Olivier. Sorry.
No, let me accept the director's engineering, but yeah, because it's something that at the later stage becomes something that we fight about and dispute when we evaluate. But what I appreciate is the fact that it's raised open in council today, so that when the target is not achieved, people are not only running around that time to say we could not achieve, so that when the target is not achieved, we are able to say that we did indicate to council that it's not achievable. I would have preferred a 10%, to be honest, but because I am aware of the processes that have been put in place, the issue of water meters, the issue of the other side, the pipes have been replaced already. There is other areas where we'll be replacing pipes, So if I look at it in terms of the budget, there is provision made. I don't think it was cut like what you would say, Director, previously. It was cut, but maybe let's do it over time, because I'm not a technical person to understand the infrastructure. The infrastructure might be old. That is one of the biggest issues. But the issue of the meter readers not reading meter readers every month, it's something that we're not even supposed to be having. There are just some of the things which I draw a line and say this one we're not supposed to be having at all. It should not have happened. It should not happen. Then if we start with those things, at least it can be able to reduce it. But we can live in the first year with 20%,
Where is it? Okay, Executive Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to confirm then that the recommendation with regards to the water changes from 30% to 20%.
Will be noted as such. Thank you. Okay, when we open it, we are on the third item. Tanya, just go there. Should be the director just raised there that recommendation 1, that council take notes of the performance agreement of municipal managers and seniors managers year 1 July to
all that
30 June.
All that we have to say is
30th of June.
30th of June,
Yes,
sorry, not 20th.
Not 20th of June.
But we just have to say on number 1, council take notes of the performance agreement of the municipal manager and senior managers financial year 22, 30th of June with the amendments. It was only those 2 amendments, but they're in the contract. It means the CFO and the director engineering have to sign addendums in terms of their contract, because there's a change in terms of what they've signed now, but it's an administrative process.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, on the section 1, the 4th one, it is item C, stroke 1, stroke 64, stroke 06, stroke 22, the Municipal Public Accounts Committee report on irregular expenditure of 2019-2020 financial year in unauthorized expenditure for 2021-2022 financial year on page 226 to 250. The item is serving. The recommendations is on screen. Can we go with the recommendations? Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. With regards to the recommendation, I'd like to change the first recommendation to say that prior to council writing off the expenditure, they first investigate internally the items concerned, with particular focus on the legal items. It's concerning that we're saying that we're accepting values that are different to what was quoted. So I think, if we write it off, we're condoning it, but yet we're still not too sure whether it is correct or not. So I'd first like to see those items investigated internally, and then decide on that when to write it off. And with that change, I will go with the recommendations of the Public Accounts Committee.
Okay, that it be the investigation onto legal items. Okay. Edit. I did see you, Councillor. I just wanted to make sure MM is just writing. Okay. Councillor Koloapi, your hand was second up.
Thank you, Mayor. Definitely, when we're sitting interrogating this thing, as you know, that we must do the oversight as MPEC. The write-off, it doesn't just come for the sake of coming. We interrogate. I understand that even us as MPEC, we were so much focusing to those legal aspects where monies are. Explanations were given, and you'll find that there was a lapse between supply chain and illegal when it comes to the specifications that were written. Specifications, it was their first of its kind, Mr. Mayor, to start to do the panel of attorneys. Whilst they were doing the panel of attorneys, they couldn't understand specifically things that they need to put into. When a supply chain starts to pick up that the invoices are starting to be exorbitant, things are quoted that were not in the specifications, they started to learn from those things. Those are the things that were highlighted. Oh, they were all those things were put here, we saw them. And when you see, you look at it, there was a miscommunication between the supply chain and the legal, where they will take the whole invoice and start to say it's an irregular. Whereas when you look at it, irregular is supposed maybe to be 20,000, the change, or 5,000, but supply chain, when it takes that whole item, he will place the whole item of a 1.2 million or an item of 800 and some odd thousand as an irregular, whereas there's nothing that is irregular with the other things, because people from the panels were supposed to be chosen. And supply chain had a thing of saying, you need to choose according to the first lawyer, first company that was, set down, whereas the expertise of those attorneys are not the same. Hence, I even wanted the Speaker to make a clarity in this council how our recommendation has come to explain these whole things of the legal and everything, so that these things, when we come and advise this council, can understand that we just don't walk and say it's right off everything. There are things that we felt they need to go back for investigation. Those things that were right off, but fortunately we are sent by this council, we need to come and account to them. So whatever they take, they can take it, because the final decision is the council. But for us, we've been here. Everything in MPEC, it's open. Somebody can come and observe over YouTube and everything. Their benefits were easy. Thank you.
Thank you. MM?
Speaker, just through you, there's a difference between Xhosa and Simpondo. So Councillor Koloapi must speak Xhosa, not Simpondo, please.
Because there was. Thank you.
IsiXhosa kuthiwa thaca, isimpondo lela gama, that can mean other things.
Okay. Through your microphone, please. Okay, thank you. I recognize.
Yeah, Speaker, my heart is bleeding when I look at these issues, particularly, Speaker, on the issue of Kolweni versus Khef, that about 17 million has been spent, although we have only given about 35 houses so far. Many people have become so rich in this project of Kolweni. And I think, Speaker, it's something that in future developments, when this council need to make sure that the development of our people does not get to be undermined by certain individuals. who seek to enrich themselves, although we don't see any service delivery. This, I'm heartbroken, to say the least, on this matter, of these companies that have made so much money in Kolweni Boseskhef, yet our people are still staying in shacks. When there's a rain and when there's fire, our people are suffering. Thanks, Speaker.
Thank you, thank you. The proposal by the executive mayor is still standing. I see Councillor Botha, I just want to make sure your hand is up.
Yes, so just for clarity, we wanted to confirm the register for potential irregular expenditure that comes under Annex C that's been referred to the disciplinary board. It's the first item, the second item, and then the third item is Kolweni decanting, just in case, you know, just the way that the layout is made, just for clarifying.
Yeah, if I'm getting it correctly, the mayor is proposing in Annex A that all matters in relation to legal services be investigated internally. And then in Annex B, I think it's straightforward, Annex B, then all matters relating to the whole decanting project in Annex C. We have to be specific, the whole decanting project be further investigated. So at this point in time, those matters relating to the decanting project.
Just some clarity, Speaker.
Sorry, Mayor. Just want to make sure if the MM is done, I will be.
Yeah, maybe that clarity before I continue. Give him first, yeah.
Point of clarity, Mayor.
I just want to confirm then, Councillor Bitou, are you saying that there should be a third item in Annex C, and that is the item related to the internal memorandum that's attached?
Yes,
Okay, so there's a third item that needs to be added to Annex C that is not reflected in Annex C, and that is the internal memorandum regarding the decanting of Kolweni 224.
Yeah.
So that then needs to be added to Schedule C. I'm happy with that to be added, so yes, that's fine.
So if you're capturing it correctly, then for admin purposes, investigate internally all, we write off except matters relating to legal services must be further investigated in Annex A. In Annex B remains the same. In Annex C, the recommendations remains that the matters relating to the transactions, all transactions in decanting be investigated internally further as well and not be written off.
Do we have that? Thank you. Deputy Mayor, your hand was up?
I second, Speaker.
Seconded by the Deputy Mayor. That's then for the Section 1, Office of the Municipal Manager. Moving on to... No, Councillor, your hand is not clear or your microphone must be. You are sitting around and your... Please then use your microphone then also, please. Because sometimes when you sit, our hands move and I think, no, it's not. So, yes.
Another thing that came out from MPEC is the thing of the indigent policy of the burial of people. And amongst that, there was a case of a councillor that was buried by the council. We need policies that comes up that secure everybody. If that is a norm that was taken by a council, that councillors will be buried, whilst indigent policy, we still got a problem with that. People that are in poor conditions. That's another thing that we need, a straight outlined kind of a policy as MPEC, so that that thing should not come out. Because that was picked up by Auditor General himself, the whole thing of the councillor that was buried. So we need even those things to have a clear mandate as MPEC policy in regards to that.
I will allow MM.
We need a state funeral as
Councillor, respect.
We need state
We
funeral.
will, Councillor, let's respect. I will order flags myself for you, it's fine. Continue.
Chair, let me just state on the issue of policy, I'm working on that. But the answer is straightforward, Councillor Kola. And I would want those who attended the SALCA meeting in Cape Town, because it was not coming from me, to say what they heard when they were told about this thing. You know, the problem is the policy, the way it's written, we can correct. And I'm always saying there are things that you can do within the law. That policy was done with some problems in it. It will appear. That's why the Auditor General picks up these things, that you were trying to also do other things which might not be in line. So those who attended the SALCA speaker, councillors, I think they are here. If you can give them to clarify what was said there by somebody else, not me, because I spoke on this thing very sharply on MPEG. 3 days after that, I'm confronted even on the street that I'm doing away with the good things that were done in council here, you know. And then I responded to say, I am prepared to do those things again, but let it not be me who sign. And then when we deal with them with MPEG, you have to pay that money or you must be investigated. Also accept that you were doing the good thing. So let's not make this thing as a criminalized issue. Let's just correct the policy. Let's not criminalize it or make it a fraudulent issue. Let's just correct the policy in terms of how we did it. It can be done. It's done correctly in other municipalities, but you don't just give a letter. This person is a pauper, must be buried, and then you pay. There's no report from the police. There's no report from social development if they've tried to find family members who are burying people that have got family members. In fact, I said it to MPEG, and I'm saying it now. We are running a Masingwabane project, and that should not be the case. So let's correct in terms of what we want to say in assisting the indigent people. You know, so but those who attended, I think I was happy because at 11 o'clock they did phone me to say that your MME were correct. And it's good sometimes when you get that in a municipal environment. It's all complaints about my water pipes and my rates. It's good to get that feedback, at least that you were correct at some point, but it's not something to brag about. It's something that we can correct, I agree, but let's just correct it, and instead of trying to criminalize it, or, you know, we can do it the right way.
I will allow 2 more, some Councillor Sakwe, and then that's what I was gonna do now. Councillor Mhlana, unless if you were there, then I can allow you first. Deputy Mayor, then Councillor Botha.
Thank you, Speaker. I was one of the councillors who were there at SALCA. I think this thing came up in one of our council meetings, and the MM explained to us that the way we are doing it, it's incorrect, because we are not doing it now as a pauper burial. We are doing a funeral insurance cover, whatever. Then there was unhappiness amongst us, the way the MM was putting it. Then when we were there at SALCA, someone there from Cape Town, or no, from Pretoria, Joburg, whatever, she was speaking on this topic, and then she was warning the councillors, the municipalities that are running this pauper burial thing. Then they explained the way that the MM has explained to us. They said if a municipality wants to do it as a indigent policy, something, there must be a policy for that. But the way now we are doing it as a pauper burial, it's wrong. We are doing it incorrect, because the only person that is allowed to be buried by the municipality is only when a person, you've gone through those processes of social development and the police and finding the families of the deceased person. Then after some 2 or 3 months, if there's no one coming up, then the municipality can do that, can do the burial. But not if someone has got a family. There are people who are part of the family, but they didn't make sure that they do the arrangement for that person to have a funeral policy. So we were very much warned about that. If any municipality is treating this wrongly, then there will be consequences on that municipality. So I just want to say that, yes, that we hear it from the MM. We also hear it from one of our SALCA meetings. that anyone who is doing the proper burial or is continuing, any municipalities who is continuing to bury people who have their families here and they didn't go through the processes, and even advertising on social media, on the papers that we are looking for this family of this person, then you can't just say there was no money for, we don't have money to bury this person, we are not working, all those stuff. Then it's wrong.
No, I will, no more. It's just for clarity to confirm that it's not that we don't want to assist. There is higher bodies that is also confirming the manner we are doing things. I will only Councillor Botha now, if she was part of it, and clarity straight to not any item on what has been raised around pauper burials, then we will move on. Otherwise.
Thank you.
No, we will get to that point, Councillor. I understand. We're not going to interrogate because it's not an item. Councillor Botha, then we're going to move.
Thank you, Chair. Just on the administrative, sorry, on the impact recommendations, there's an Annexure D that's not mentioned in the recommendation, and I think that just needs to be noted. I don't know how you want to deal with that.
It was referred to the council. It was dealt with in the council.
Yeah, it's two items that should never have been sent to impact. Yeah, it says those two items, and that it isn't referred to in the recommendations, but I mean those two items should just be noted that they are already finalised by council, and that they weren't supposed to be referred to impact.
Take note. Thank you, Councillor Botha, for that. We will move now to the Councillor.
I'm sitting here. I'm confused. Are we having something that is written in our policies, pauper burial? No, I think it's something that was incorrect, man, because we're talking about indigent. That's what I understand.
You see, Speaker, this is what I wanted to...
That means officials never
Correct.
did their work, because we didn't talk about pauper. For that matter, pauper to me, it's a dog there in the streets. You can't say to a human being, he or she is pauper. We said it's indigent. Then therefore, if that policy is wrong, it must be corrected.
Come back.
I'm hearing this pauper thing, and we condemned that word.
Councillors, I wanted to move. We're going to go now. We're going to go. Thank you. Because it is on the street, pauper. Okay. Okay, we will get that policy back and then see it. We're going to move to the next section.
I wanted to speak, you
Councillor
didn't allow me. No. But I wanted to speak, you didn't allow me. Because I wanted, no.
You are not recognized.
But you are unfair.
Councillor, no. We're going to move now. I've said the two that were, Councillor was at the Salga. I've allowed it for a small debate. So we're moving on to section 2 now.
Stay with the community, does not understand.
We're going to section 2, the finance section.
Whoever
Thank
that
you.
person is.
Councillor, when you talk, switch your mic off, please, because that's a sign of disrespect when you're doing it with your mic on. Please. I understand we want to debate things, but it was not open for debate. Thank you. Ma'am, I wanted to move, but it's fine. Okay, I will move.
Can I appeal to you, Speaker? I don't know. We don't even need what is happening now. The issue is the current policy has even a pauper definition. The application that comes as pauper and all of. I'm saying there's an advice. I attended that workshop last year already. That's why I'm saying let's look at the matter and correct the issue of the police if we want to assist indigent, not the way that we are doing it. Let's rather wait for that and have deliberation, Speaker. I will appeal when we amend that policy. But the current way that we have actually doing it,
we will try and get that policy soon.
Must be corrected.
For us, we will then debate on that matters. Thank you.
Speaker.
Section 2.
Speaker. It seems that it's only me that you don't want to talk in this council. It's fine, I won't talk again.
No,
Yeah?
Councillor.
Because it's your council.
That's fine. Let's go to section 2 on finance. The first item under finance, section C, C/2/51/06/22. It is the outstanding debt report for February 2022, page 252 to 264. The item is now serving. Councillor Olivier.
We note the item.
Executive Mayor.
I'll second, Speaker.
Mayor. Thank you. Next item.
No. You see, this attitude of yours, I've been raising my hand here and you never looked at the side. You don't have an attitude when you are
No.
No, you should have looked this side. It's your job to look at all the councillors.
I looked at all the councillors. Thank you, Councillor Tsabai. I am always looking at all councillors. Next item. It is item C/2/52/06/22, the outstanding debt report for March 2022, page 265 to 276. Item is now serving. Councillor Olivier.
I note the item.
Deputy Mayor.
Seconded, Speaker.
Third one, the item C/2/53/06/22, the debt report for April 2022, page 277 to 287. Item serving. Councillor Olivier.
We go with the recommendation, Speaker.
Executive Mayor.
I'll second it, Speaker.
Seconded by the Mayor. Fourth one, item C/2/55/06/22, the report for May 2022, page 300 to 348. Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Speaker. Sorry, I was waiting for you to tell us that the item was serving again. I'd like to go with the recommendation that has been done by the Executive Mayor in Mako. So it's precisely the same as the Director of Corporate Service, as the Finance and Corporate Services portfolio, with an addition in item 2 that the slight increase in revenue and collection and payment ratio be noted, and then an addition of item number 5 that as part of the outreach program, community halls in the respective areas be opened on specific days so that the indigent and rebates application process be explained to the public, and that applicants also be assisted with the completion of indigent and rebate applications.
Thanks, Mayor. Councillor Mhlana.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker, for allowing me to speak in your house. I listened to the Executive Mayor, the communication that he read, but I think there was a company that was assisting us, or that is assisting us with the collections, and we have been hard on that company. Now that there is an increase, we're not saying to that company, thank you very much, well done. You are doing a great job. I think at some point, Speaker, even if we dislike each other, but when people are doing a great job, we must say you are doing a great job. So we can't only say only officials. I see the MM is shaking his head, but this is what I wanted to register. At least the company now is doing some work.
Thank you, Councillor.
Or we are paying.
MM.
I take note what Councillor Mhlana is saying. On record, the contract has been terminated with the company. It's been communicated I think in the communication of the mayor, in MACO it was discussed, not in the section 8 it was discussed to say that the finance department needs to be thanked. Part of the reason was the issue of moratorium, to say that moratorium that was taken, council decision is to approve policies. It's not council to actually then go and determine how those policies must be implemented. So it's a combination of cutting for services. I think there were some people who were unhappy, which will cut services for, but that service has been terminated with the company.
Councillor Kolopi?
Before then we go with the recommendation, I was having just a question to interrogate this, because if you read that bullet number 13 in that whole report, it says under indigent subsidy benefit, it says a number of indigents are 3,398 that were recorded April 2022. The number of applicants was 78. Number of applicants approved. In May, there were 6. In April, there were 60. Just look at that. You see there's a problem amongst the number of indigents that we've recorded and the number of people that are applying. Have we ever checked the kind of a form are we using? Is it user-friendly to people to make them to come to and sign? I can see recommendations are saying that places will be open, but what is it that will make people to come to the halls? Because every time this drive, it's sometimes being done. But how can we ensure that people really are responding to this? I understand that last month, Mayor gave us a rebates according to percent. That was okay. But the point is, what is it that you are not doing right to ensure that people are coming? Because that's the money of the council that's sitting with National Treasury with these people. Secondly, we're moving a stage of technology when it comes to water, when it comes to electricity and everything. What is it that we can do that this can be made so that it can be friendly, goes with the technology? Because most of the households, they've got smartphones. So that at least we can ensure that we are combating this whole thing of indigent and we are in line. Because this whole service, this whole rebate we're talking about, they will never materialize if we're not getting to the people that's supposed to sign this and make it fruitful. So that's my question before we understand this, that what is it that we can do to ensure that we attract people to come? Go May 22, only 6, they were approved. Why they were not approved? How many were in? Then 6 approved. It means something is not right, or I don't know.
Just also what I've picked up before, what I've picked up, it's also that we don't have all the relevant people present when we have these public participation campaigns. The struggle was with the police even as well. To find out that we have commission of oath within the municipality, if we can have all those people present, specifically the SASA people as well. So we need to, when we have these roadshows and things, we need to make sure a week before the time we have all the relevant stakeholders present. Because I can tell you the form is really friendly. It's just that the external people that needs your proof to support your application, that's the ones we need to make sure we have them on board for the whole week. Because sometimes you would find that even, look at Curlin, if we don't have SASA and those ones present there, they need to come to Kwano and then back again. Those kind of things, even Kranshoek the same. So I think that's where we need to focus on to make sure when we're out there, all those relevant stakeholders is present. Thank you, but I will, okay, it's Executive Mayor, then Councillor Mhlana.
No, 2 things. The form has been changed. It was 4 pages, it's 2 pages now, in terms of indigent. There was another form in terms of the rebate. It was 3 pages. It's 1/2 a page now for the rebates for other people in other categories. So who are not indigent. It's only 1 page. They should be on the website. If not today, tomorrow. The forms have been approved, been amended and changed in the correct letterhead of Bitou Municipality. The standard letterhead or template is also changed and agreed on. The only challenge on the online one, you would need people to sign. So it will be there probably by next week, Friday. But the only challenge you are having then, how do you get these people to sign? They can complete it online, but how do you then get to sign? No, that's where we're still struggling in terms of issues of how do we move with technology to ensure, or if people complete that, can we accept that this is completed by Councillor Mhlana as an indigent person, or is it somebody that seated and completed this form? So that's the issue of verification, which is the problem. It will need still that we then visit the people. The issue of the commissioner is going to be resolved because we've got some people internally who are commissioners, so they need to be part of this, so that we don't say the police are not available. What the police are doing and signing is what same which our commissioners are actually signing. But it seems that we assume that the indigent people are supposed to be more than 3,300, and that is where we are all struggling, and we're not getting it right. The process now is going to assist us because we might be thinking that it's supposed to be more than that, but it's actually people who don't qualify, they fall away because they are R5 more than the 3,500 threshold. You know, if you remember in the industry now, security industry and everything, security industry salaries, standardized salaries, it's 11,000, you know. So you would expect those people to apply, but they can't because they don't fall part of that 3,500. I don't know in terms of the industry at the hotels and hospitality industry. So that's where we might be having a challenge. So the number will increase, but it will at least tell us which people are falling below the 3,500 and which people are slightly above the 3,500. So it has been made a little bit easy. The issue of people who have not been approved, it will always indicate why the applications have not been approved. I'll just follow up on 18 that have not been processed. It could be that some documents that were needed are not present. They need to follow up with those people to get those documentation. But the forms have been circulated, and my apologies. I think it was, I don't know, inquisitive, or since you spoke to me, then you happened to see the form. So I'll distribute the form to everyone by end of the day today so that everyone can see how the forms look.
Councillor, please speak.
No, let me quickly, you want to do a follow-up?
A follow-up, Kaloko. In the concerns that I was bringing, Kanene, us as councillors have not been given a mandate of becoming commissioners. Adding to the problem that you said you have picked up, that sometimes the police are not there and whatever, are we not supposed to be commissioners?
No, Councillor Kolwape. In the order that I've raised, seen it, Executive Mayor, then Councillor Mhlana. Yeah, too much.
Thank you, Speaker. I share Councillor Kawapi's concerns because it's always an issue to try and get as many people to venues when we're trying to arrange things. And part of what we do as councillors, we need to be informing our communities with the various communications we have. But I think it might be worth adding a 6th recommendation that these days are loud hailed the day before in the various wards. So whichever date a particular ward is scheduled, the day before that should be loud hailed to that community as well, that the activity is taking place that next day.
Is that not a given administrative issue?
Speaker.
Sorry?
We are on this issue of the executive mayor. He's bringing another thing. Unless you don't want us to discuss it.
Sorry.
Because we are saying something that he's saying and we need to be cleared, or we must get clarity. That is why I'm raising my hand.
Coughing there, sorry, my apology. Sorry, Mayor, can you just?
Okay, so what I was saying in response to what Councillor Kawapi said about making sure we get as many people to come and complete the forms and to get as many people into the net as possible. In addition to recommendation 5, I believe we should add a 6th recommendation that these activities are loud hailed the day before it takes place in each ward, so that we can inform as many people as possible. and as many people as possible are aware of it.
In addition, you are adding, you're saying, eh? Okay, can I just, for the order, then I will recognize you, Councillor Mhlana.
Yeah, Speaker, yes, I concur with the Executive Mayor. In fact, if that run is in a particular ward, the public participation, the loud hailing must continue the whole day in that specific ward to add on him. I had a bad experience on this, Speaker. I don't know, maybe the attitude of officials when you are a councillor and you are not an executive, you get to be treated differently. If officials know that this ward is a ward and it's the speaker who resides in this ward, everything gets to be done accordingly. I had to go drive from home to the municipal offices to get an official to go to Bosesgef on the day of indigent. There was no one. I had to call the sector manager to avail himself to go and do certification. On the first day of that program, old people were sent to town to make copies because housing office was closed. So if we're bringing services closer to people, why must we then send them to town to get affidavits, to make copies, because our offices are closed? So I had a real bad experience, and I think maybe there will be improvement in the second round. Thanks, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Mhlana. Just to also answer you then there, I think the first round, I'm saying this, was not 100%, to be honest with you. And it's not just you or being in a different, like you're saying, executive or not. I think I also had a problem. SASA was closed. So we had to I had to phone around also to ask, can we make copies? Can we use the copies of the card, etc.? Because there was also problems in other wards. But I am saying that the first round was not 100% smooth. And yes, we will ensure that at least the second round. But there was problems in other wards as well. Thank you, Councillor Mhlana. Councillor Kabai.
Speaker, all this goes with coordination. The buck stops with you. Public participation is belonging to you. Yes, you must coordinate, structure. You see what you do most of the time. Always you blame officials. And I think you are abusing where you are sitting, because as an executive, if you want your ward, a meeting, particular meeting that must be attended or be done, officials must run like headless chicken because they must go to New Horizon because you are an executive. And that is wrong. Why you had those problems that you don't have a program. Any councillor from Ward 7, Ward 1 will call officials and say, come down, without any program. And your office doesn't know that. And it has happened. Other meetings will be postponed in the last minute. Somebody, because of he or she is an executive, postpones a meeting in the last hour. You see? So you must look at your office, organize your meetings. There must be engagements between the public the participation office, your office, and officials, that is communication. If you want to solve this mess, and this abuse must stop.
Thank you.
I'm done.
I understand that grandstand of yours, but thank you. Just to show you that no one is above. I have never done such.
No,
and please correct. I can correct you.
No, you
are
don't have to
raising matters that is not
yourself.
true.
Your
Because
public
you want this thing
participation is a mess
to say something
because
from
of
your
you.
point. You want to say
You
your
are
view. I'm
abusing
saying
your
my
position,
view.
and we
No
are
one is
watching you.
abusing nothing.
You are abusing your position.
You are raising it because you want to raise it in a bad light. And I'm saying to you now, prove
I like, because
prove
you
that
are
it is,
abusing your
prove
position.
it,
Is
prove
it
it. You
correct now
can't
what
prove
is
it.
happening?
You are
Two people
incorrect. You are
just
trying to
talking
take
at
a
once.
grandstand, Councillor
Is
Tabai,
it
which is
correct now what
incorrect.
is happening? Two people
You
talking
are
at
abusing.
once.
You are incorrect, Councillor.
The speaker is speaking, but Councillor
It's
Tabai is
funny.
interfering.
Make a right.
No, it is wrong.
Can we
It is
focus,
wrong.
councillors? Thank you.
The speaker is speaking, but the
Your
Councillor
executive
Tabai is
in
also
existence.
interfering. No, it's wrong.
Look, order,
you
order,
can laugh
order.
whatever you want
Please.
to, but you are wrong.
Councillor Ndai, can we?
No, don't bully the speaker.
Order,
Don't
order.
bully the speaker. Don't bully the speaker. Give him the respect that he deserves. Give the speaker the respect that
Councillors,
he deserves.
councillors, can
Because
we?
we are
I'm calling
listening
you to
when
order.
you are speaking. Now you are laughing as
Councillor
if you
Ndai.
what?
The
No, man.
the executive mayor is
No.
councillors.
Don't act like women here.
No, man, councillors,
not
please,
women,
thank
you
you.
are men.
Thank you. I fully
You are not
understand
bullying
where
the speaker.
Councillor Tabai is coming from. He's trying to take a grandstand, but thank you. The mayor's proposal is
But you're
open.
out of order, Speaker. You're out of order.
Can we move?
Don't be emotional. This is not your house.
No.
And out of order.
That's
Don't
what
be
you are good
emotional.
at, not
we-
listening at what is being said, quick to respond. Then after you see that you were stupid to
It
answer
was
them.
second. This item was seconded by the deputy mayor. If I'm correct.
Second, Speaker.
Deputy mayor was seconded.
Order, Speaker. On a point of order.
We are on a point of
Can
order.
a member here, is it part of council language that you call people stupid? Can the deputy executive mayor withdraw that? Please,
I
Speaker.
did not hear any such thing because of the noise. So it's fine if you heard it and the microphone was not on. Just for correction, I just want to, Tanya has picked up something here. The item should read C/2/54/06/22. Thank you. We move on to the section 3, which is corporate service. Sorry? No, man, we did May now.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, there's
this is
two
read out
Mays
the
here,
wrong
man.
number.
No.
You can't be emotional in that sense.
Sorry,
Don't
but
be
the
emotional,
May.
Speaker.
No, I see two Mays here.
Can you
man.
drink water, Speaker, please, man?
Yeah, it says deputy
I see
report
you are
May 20.
emotional now. Drink water, man.
Take the jug of water, man. So I was seeing here, Deb report May. The next item, it's the prescribed debt report for May 2022. The item is C/2/55/06/22. It is on page 300 to 348. The item is serving. Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Speaker. I'd like to go with the recommendation by the Executive Mayor that committee notes a prescribed debt of 19,766,280 rand and 49 cents as at the end of April 2022. And then point number 2, that Council approves the write-off of the prescribed debt that amounts to 19,766,280 rand and 49 cents. Thank you, Speaker.
Proposer, Councillor Olivier. Sorry, Councillor Botha.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, I just want to get clarity. Is that going to be written off today or is that going to be written off tomorrow? Because that was raised as to whether or not that write-off was in the budget in the portfolio committee that we had.
Councillor.
I think we have to answer Councillor Botha's question first because I wanted to go with the recommendation.
Sorry, are you going to answer me?
No, Chair, we've looked at this matter initially, and have discussed it with the manager revenue, that the write-off be in the new financial year, because I was concerned about the budgeting in terms of debt impairment. Then we've actually looked at debt impairment again. If it is that we're gonna slightly oversee it, it's a non-cash item. It's unfortunate that it has prolonged, Councillor Botha, there are a number of issues here, as to why have we allowed 19 million to prescribe, but we will write off as of 30th June 2022 as part of really trying to assist with the current situation, But initially, I thought because of the absence of clear reports that should have indicated in the past, was it really COVID related, that we had this situation, so it has not been clear, but we'll write off immediately. Council take a resolution today, and the new statements when they come out will then reflect that this debt has been written off.
That answer,
We'll do viaments between the debt impairment of also traffic fines, because also we have not done more in terms of collection there, in terms of that. So we'll just do viament between service charges and that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Olivier?
I go with the recommendation by the Executive Mayor.
Yeah, sorry, Chair. There is Mike is reminding me, there is a previous decision on writing off, and in that, I think we must align this one. There must be a condition, to some of these people that you then put specifically the water meter, because otherwise we'll find ourselves in 2 years' time again to write off. So specifically where we're writing off, there must be a condition that people that we will then put the water meter to manage the debt that it does not increase.
Yes. Councillor Kolobia will allow you.
Sometimes we need to be getting knowledge of the things through you. If we as a councillor bother probe that when is it going to be write off? You said preferable now. I wish you can elaborate what is the best if it's done now or next financial year that kicks in, so that we can get knowledge, and reason, so that we can have a satisfaction of the heart. Why now?
I will allow you, then we will move.
It can be done now, it can be done when it's done in the new financial year. All that it means, it's in terms of your debt impairment budget of the new financial year. And if you're going to slightly exceed, you've got a chance in February to do an adjustment budget. If you do it now and there's a slight over budget, it's a non-cash item, it does not really make a difference. But that is for internal process, but for external process, for people outside, it makes sense to close that financial year with that debt written off now, instead of waiting with those opening balance in the new financial year. So the issue was always about, it's an issue of silos. If I remember, I said in the section 80, I was concerned that within finance, we work in silos, because here we are planning to write off, but remember we did the last adjustment budget recently. So my question was, if we were planning to write off 19 million, have you communicated within yourself at the budget office, income and budget, to say you may have to make provision to increase this amount, because we did not increase that amount? That was only my concern in terms of the sums.
Thank you. We will move on to the next section. Do we have the seconder there? It was Councillor Olivier. Thank you. Next section, section 3, corporate services. The first item, it is item C, /3/40/0622. The revised schedules of meetings for councillors for 2022 for portfolio committees, mayoral committees, and council. The item starts on page 350 to 355. Item serving. Councillor Olivier.
I go with the recommendation.
There's a proposal that we go with the recommendations by Councillor Olivier. Deputy Mayor.
Second, Speaker.
Seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Next item. Item C, /3/41/06/22. the employment equity profile of Bitou Municipality per Directorate is at 31st March 2022. The item is on page 356 to 363. Item now serving. Can we go with the recommendations, Councillor Mhlana?
Thanks, Speaker. Before I go with the recommendations, I always get worried when it comes to this because it's always, as you see the statistics, it's always that our people, particularly my race, are the ones that gets the flag. But I go with the recommendations by the Executive Mayor.
Councillor Mhlana propose that we go with the recommendations. I see your hand was up, Councillor Wolafir. Councillor Mangaba.
I wanted to second this recommendation by the Executive Mayor.
Seconded by Councillor Wolafir. Councillor Mangaba, do you want some arguments? Standing down, thank you.
Speaker. Speaker.
We're going to go to the third item.
Speaker.
It is item C, stroke 3, stroke 42, stroke 06, stroke 22. The progress report in respect on the implementation and readiness of the staff regulations. It is on page 364 to 368. Item now serving. Councillor Mhlana, see your hand was up.
Yeah, Speaker, I'm happy with the report because in most instances, the workers, particularly the blue-collar workers, don't get to be informed about the regulations. I'm happy that there is a program to inform everyone about the regulations. So I go with the recommendations.
Okay. I will just before I see Councillor Nyal is trying to get hold of us. There, just make sure.
Where is it coming from?
I
No,
just
he's
want to
been
find
there
out
online
that you
since
hear me.
the start.
Can you hear me, Speaker?
You open, you go to your things. And Speaker, this thing of the regulations of COVID are over now. People must come to.
Councillor, I just wanted to say, Councillor Kapai.
That should have been explained because there was nothing that was said about Councillor Nef. It's only Councillor Kangam. The Speaker is only Councillor Kangam.
No, I said Councillor Kapai.
Councillor Nef is in
I
hospital.
mentioned Councillor Nyal is online from the start. Councillor Nyal, can you hear us?
This 5 minutes is good. I can't wait for Councillor again. You must try again.
Chef was tested.
Speaker, can you ask Councillor Nel to unmute himself because we can't do it here. No, on the.
Councillor Nyal, can you unmute yourself, please? Councillor Nyal, unmute yourself. Okay, we will let him get in. Councillor Nyal, can you hear us? Councillor Nyal? unmute yourself. No, it seems like not. We're not getting hold of Councillor Nel. Just before we move to the next councillor. Councillors, can I ask that we show some respect, please? Although your mic is off, but it's a human thing to show respect to a councillor that is in hospital. I understand you were coming from way back. Even last year you were mentioning about this, even the year before that. But can we show respect now, please, for Councillor Nyal? He is in hospital. He's trying to get connected. So please, that's all I'm asking of you. It could be any one of us tomorrow, then we will joke around as well. That's why while we're trying to connect to Councillor Nyal, the next speaker was, if I'm correct, was Councillor Olafir. If I'm correct. Councillor Mslana proposed.
I don't like to talk when other people are talking because I keep quiet when other people talk. I go with the recommendation that
Councillor Olafir, then seconded. Moving on to the fourth item under corporate. Councillor Koloape.
Yes, please, Speaker. Things like that we need to know, because honestly, in case of Bill Nell was not apologized for, it was not verified. I can attest that I saw him that is online, but we were not informed as a council, as a chamber. Two, it becomes now a turning down point when it says he's in hospital. Honestly, it's his right. He was not even supposed to be on the meeting. These things, it will come and haunt us one day. We should put a strict way of what are the people coming to the meeting, at what time and whatever. Even if we can be online, he's sick, he was supposed to be on sick leave, because that's another case, just on human.
I did say that.
Please.
He is online.
No.
Chose to. That's what
Even if he's in
okay.
hospital.
Can we move? Can we move?
Even if he's in hospital.
The fourth item under corporate service.
Speaker.
It is the item C, stroke 3, stroke 43, stroke 06, stroke 22, approval and adoption of human resource management policies. It starts on page 369 to 680. The item is now serving. Councillor Olafir.
I go with the recommendation by the Executive Mayor.
Proposed by Councillor Olafir. Deputy Mayor.
Seconded, Speaker.
Seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Next item. Item C, stroke 3, stroke 45, stroke 06, stroke 22. The determination of upper limits of salaries, allowances and benefits for members of Municipal Council 2021 to 2022. Item 681 to 702. The item is now serving. Councillor Tsapai.
Unfortunately, Bill Nell is in hospital. This is his item. I will take over that. I go with the recommendation.
There's a proposer, Deputy Mayor. Seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Next item. Item C, stroke 3, stroke 46, stroke 06, stroke 22. Reviewed systems of delegation and adoptions of a delegation register for Bitou local municipality. The item is on page 703 to 705. Item now serving. Councillor Kolwape, see your hand is up.
Mr. Speaker, with due respect, I see this whole thing of delegation. My concern was if we finalize the delegation and approve here without having 3 directors that are not yet appointed, Where is it setting us up, that whole thing, when the directors are coming and they find that a decision was taken for a proposed decision for their delegations whilst they were not here? Whereas the delegation, we know that it's more on KPIs and whatever people have done, the performance of directors and managers is based on that. Are we not really being unfair if we can rush for delegations that are being done here and approved whilst we still have a the structure, the organogram that is not yet done, especially the one of the senior managers? And two, can we not be workshopped with these things? Because you'll find in the council, we'll always to know who's supposed to do this, the blame goes this in this door. If it's not Kherik, it's especially when in land use zones and whatever. Can we not be workshopped as this council to understand what we call it delegation, who's the role of what, especially into administration and directors? And we've got directors that are not yet being appointed. When they come, they will find the delegations that are given here. Maybe these things, it's not of their interest, or they still want to contest it. What are we going to do? So can we refer this back till we appoint the people and finalize our things that are still pending?
Okay, I will let that give you answer there.
I just want to get it right.
Yeah.
That request, does it mean the institution must wait and not operate and wait for pit pompies who must still be appointed?
Exactly.
So I'm asking that question in trying to answer, Speaker. The delegations are delegations of council giving authority to who is authorized to approve or sign what. It's not based on an individual. It's based on a position. Michael Roder is acting director engineering services. So it cannot be based on the director that must still come. Michael Roder is given delegation to authorize that authority as an acting director. Mr. Sakati is being given delegation by this council to perform those functions, because delegations are not linked to a person, they are linked to a position. So that is why I would caution council to say the delegations must wait for people to be appointed. On the second issue, the councillor is correct, but however, when this question that she's raising was raised by the executive mayor yesterday with me, because he always goes the agenda and calls me, then I said, I take note of the fact that the issue of the structure is not finalized. It's unfortunate, we know the history, all of us, in terms of why it's not finalized, but we must approve delegation so that at least July, August, until the structure is done in September, people are not waiting and say, I cannot approve 4 million, I don't have delegations, because who's gonna approve transactions above 1 million now? Because everyone is gonna say, tomorrow is 1st of July, I cannot approve anything because I'm not delegated. It means that we cannot do any work. He's not gonna be able to approve any town planning things because he says, from tomorrow, I don't have any delegations. So the delegations will be approved now, but the mayor will then propose in terms of what he was asking me yesterday. I'll allow him to speak himself, and I think it's aligned to what you are saying, because we have to review these delegations again when that structure is actually changed, because that structure is going to give you other lines of reporting. So you have to then align your delegations with that structure of reporting. Thanks.
Allows then for the delegations at least to be in place for now, but it allows us also to revise any delegations. Thank you, Speaker.
Thanks, Mayor. Deputy Mayor?
Speaker, I seconded the executive mayor and also would like to thank the municipal manager for always giving us directions where we are not clear, because there's no right or wrong answer, question. We are all here to learn. So if he's there to give us clarity, that is good. So I second the executive mayor. Thank you.
Okay, just before I close, is it seconded by the Deputy Mayor,
Sorry, Speaker, I don't want after the meeting, Lovuyo said I was unfair, I didn't protect him. The delegations were workshopped. Lovuyo was standing on that podium on that side. He dealt with the issues of the principles and everything, in terms of that. But I take the point, I think Councillor Kolapi, all of us were then expecting after that workshop and he has consolidated everything. He will then take us through again. So I take your point in terms of what you're trying to raise.
Thanks, That is then for corporate service. I think we're done on that. Next section, section 4, community service. The first item, it's item C, stroke 4, stroke 12, stroke 06, stroke 22. It is the update on the development, design and planning of a regional landfill site at the Garden Route District Municipality. You'd find the item on page 707 to page 722. The item is now serving. Is that your hand, Councillor Kolwapi? Not, it's not your hand. Okay, it's Councillor Kolwapi, then Deputy Mayor.
I take the recommendation that are done by Executive Mayor, especially that we know these things are moving faster than us. So we need to prepare the things of our waste management. So I take all the recommendations of Executive Mayor.
There's a proposal by Councillor Kolwapi, Deputy Mayor.
I happily seconded Councillor Kolwapi.
Seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Section 5, it is engineering service. The first item, it's item C, stroke 5, stroke 29, stroke 06, stroke 22. It is the implementation of a smart metering system to enhance revenue collection of the electricity commodity. You would find it on page 724 to page 727. Item serving. Deputy Mayor.
Speaker, I go with the recommendations. I saw Councillor Mhlana is also, his hands is up, because when we were speaking this in our portfolio committee, he also advised that with all these devices, we get it practical so that we can also know how it works. So I think he also wants to emphasize on that.
Okay.
Thank you, Speaker. I go with the recommendation.
Proposed by the Deputy Mayor. Second end is Councillor Mhlana.
Seconded by myself.
Seconded by Councillor Mhlana. Second item under section 5, it is item C, stroke 5, stroke 30, stroke 06, stroke 22. The street light maintenance in ESCOM electricity supply areas, 7 to 8 to page 734. Item is now serving. Councillor Mhlana, then Deputy Mayor.
I go with the recommendations.
Proposed by Councillor Mhlana.
Seconded, Speaker.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor. Amen.
Speaker, just in case somebody comes later on and question this thing, we must take it on record that in any case we have been doing this thing. It's not only our municipality. ESCOM is not doing maintenance of the street lights, which they're supposed to be doing. So we have been doing it in any case in our budget as most municipalities, but we'll deal with the process through SALCA processes where we will then now push ESCOM to say, we have done this on your behalf at our own cost. You have to find a way of refunding us. So I don't want it to be an issue of Councillor Mhlana and the Deputy Mayor or whoever is proposing or an issue of this council. Mike, I'm correct, it's been done, yeah.
Thank you. So that then in under engineering services, section 6, this is the economic development and planning. The first item, it is item C, stroke 6, stroke 40, stroke 06, stroke 22. The proposed closure of pathway between the N2 and Zenon Street and or access control to these streets. You'd find the item on page 735 to page 778. The item is now serving. Councillor Mhlana, Councillor Mangaba, Councillor Olivier.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. Speaker, we have in Ward 3 people who work here by Zenon Street, Porkis, at the Market Square, and most of those people are poorest of the poor. They don't have any form of transport except walking to work. and back from work. And reading to some of these organizations' letters, trying to accuse everyone of being criminals who walk there through that street, it's unfortunate, Speaker. And I want to ask the council not to approve this. We can't close the streets. Those owners there, they must just close off their yards and keep that pathway open so that our people can walk through. Yeah, so, yeah, no, I saw the recommendation. So I support it, Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, thank you very much, Speaker.
Okay, the proposal was from Councillor Mhlana.
Speaker, there must be corrections in those recommendations. They are not the true reflection of what was said in the portfolio committee.
I'll be with you now, Councillor. Yes, that's what I just wanted to go into the order. Councillor Manlaba.
Thank you, Speaker. Firstly, I'd like to really thank the portfolio committee that actually sat and looked into this and made those recommendations to actually have this application be refused. We need to be rigid and we need to be stern in terms of decisions we make, especially with regards to our CBD. Over the years, we've created a precedent that makes people who are staying around the CBD area to think the CBD area is actually for them and not for the entire Bitou. We need to be stern, because we said twice in this council where some group raised funds. Now, because they raised funds and they are able and can afford to actually do something that is a sign of segregation, we went for it. I need us to be stern. And I need us to actually get to a level where we push this even into our policy formulation, that when it comes to IDP of the CBD, it must not be based on people staying here. It must be the Bitou's decision. Because I think with these applications are going to keep coming up until we stand in terms of let it be known that our town is for everyone who's actually staying in Tet. Thank you. I second the recommendation.
I will can I just give the other councillors also? I will be with you.
So can we clarify on which recommendation? Because there's a number of recommendations that are different, and I think that's what Councillor Gabai is alluding to, because there's various recommendations, but no one has said which recommendation that they
wanted to. Okay, then I will, let me first give to Councillor Gabai, and then I think you wanted to, do you want?
No,
okay. Councillor Olivier.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm feeling like Councillor Tembele, I'm not allowed to speak. Speaker, we had a discussion in our portfolio about this. And the challenge for me was there's information about the residents feeling unsafe. I came from an angle where I thought, because I even mentioned as a woman, walking there, would I be safe? First and foremost, there was only one recommendation, that first one, which I felt was not adequate because it took the responsibility of the municipality away to make the space safe for anybody that's using it. For everybody that's using it. Because the residents could feel unsafe, but what about the safety of the people that are actually walking there? So this was my challenge. And that is hence the other recommendations, that we should look for alternative routes eventually. We know it's not going to happen soon, but I want it in the recommendation so that it can be done, and that we've got to look at that space to make it safer for everyone, not just for the residents, for the people walking there. Because as I mentioned, and Councillor Sieti understood me completely when I said it, as a woman, I don't want to walk through that bush with everything going on around there. So this is where I was coming from. We did have a long discussion, we found each other, and with that, I would like us to go with the recommendation by the executive mayor, because I think we cover what we have actually said in the portfolio as well. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Kapai, then. No, I have it written. I'm just, why are you? No, man, I'm checking the things on the list to say on the next councillor now. Councillor Kapai, then Councillor Sethi.
From the morning. You must.
Do you want to speak still? Okay, let's give to Councillor Sethi. He's not into his onto me
Thank
today.
you very much, Speaker. I think Councillor Orifil said it all. But what I just can say is that this item came into our portfolio committee, and we looked at it, and then we have said that we don't agree with this recommendation that this part must be closed. Instead, I think the municipality should come up with a plan. Even Councillor Kapai have made a suggestion that there should be a bridge or something that can yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's okay. But maybe I had it wrong. But what I'm trying to say is that we didn't agree with this. We didn't agree with this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kapai.
Speaker, I'm very excited that now the recommendations are from the executive mayor. Because the executive mayor is a ward councillor in this ward. And he's the one that supported the closure of that street. That's hypocrisy. Because in all these PBCPA letters that were addressing the workers as criminals, he supported that, yes, these are criminals. You must close the street. And we said in the portfolio committee, Section 80 committee, that for that matter, I said this item was not supposed to even come and discuss about it. It's racist that our people are seen as criminals. And people who are working for these people inside town, people who are working at Checkers, Pick n Pay and other shops around there, they are termed as criminals. And I even said, these people are coming from Bosses Chef Kolweni, New Horizon, and Kwanokutula. Now the recommendations is that because that one that talks about there must be proper investigation, it's abstract because these people are moving down N2. That is the Sunral route. It will take ages, but ours as a municipality, recommendation number 3, that something must be done so as that pathway to be erected in a manner that there must be paving there, the bushes must be cleared, there must be lighting there, you see, so that people who are termed as so-called criminals, they must move there freely and safely. Because these people, when they go home late at night. It's winter now. Now those people are crossing there in those bushes, whom they are termed criminals. I'm very angry with the executive mayor because he supported that criminality that was set by these people who don't care about black people. He should be ashamed of that. So in recommendation number 3, the municipality must erect that pathway. Those bushes, there must be lights, there must be paving there. Thank you very much.
No, his time is up. Anything you want to say? Sorry? Okay, on that, Can I ask that we quickly take a 2-minute break, please? And then come back, make it 5 minutes? No, we're gonna come back now. Yes, no, we're gonna come back now.
Switch off this thing. Switch off the public.
sien ek lewe nog. Jy sien ek lewe nog.
I see you're still alive.
Back on again. No, we have an addendum for the municipal manager's office. Now when we're back on, I'm gonna. Are we on? Okay, thank you. Welcome back. Just before we move, our last item was proposed by Councillor Mhlana, then seconded by Councillor Mangaba. With that then, it is the end of the section 6, economic development. We have an addendum under the office of the municipal manager. It is item C, stroke 1, stroke 66, stroke 06, stroke 22. It is the appointment of municipal electoral officer for Bitou Municipality. The item is now serving. MM?
Just a correction, Speaker, the matter came very late. The letter, I think, is attached when the agenda was already out, and thank you for understanding. But we rushed the item I gave to Mr. Krauts, but it cannot be correct that, oh, it was corrected, Tanya. Sorry, guys. So thank you very much. Because the item were initially, I made recommendations about my appointment. It cannot be correct. So I later picked it up and I said they need to correct it. It must be the executive mayor. But it looks like it's corrected. Thank you.
The recommendations is on screen. Can we go with the recommendations? Councillor Mhlana, then Councillor Ndai.
I go with the recommendations of the executive mayor.
Proposed by Councillor Mhlana.
Second, Speaker.
Okay, no, are you fine? Seconded by the deputy mayor. Okay.
What is honorarium?
Thank you.
It's stipend.
We move on. That is it.
1,000.
The non-delegated.
Mayor, please announce it here because I don't want it to be like, announce it here. There's a 1,000 stipend.
Can we move from, we then go back to the order of business? Number 11. It is urgent matter submitted by the municipal manager. None. And then point 12, consideration of motion, notice of motions, none. Point 13, consideration of notice of questions, none. Motions of exigencies, point 14, none. With that then said, we are done with the open council meeting. We will now move to in committee. Thank you very much for all those who attended, those online, thank you. We will move now to in committee. Thank you. We will take a 5-minute break and then come back again.
It's not coming.